Have you ever found yourself scratching your head when someone says a colleague is in the hot seat or news is hot off the press? We aren't talking about people sitting on burning furniture or pulling current events fresh out of a toaster. Applying physical temperature rules to these C1 level idioms results in a complete misinterpretation of high-stakes conversations. Advanced speakers use the concept of heat as a gauge for psychological intensity, urgency, and situational pressure. We can track how this linguistic heat scales up. It starts as a fleeting opportunity, moves into sharp external conflict, and eventually hits an internal breakdown. Recognizing this escalating scale helps bridge the gap between basic vocabulary comprehension and the nuance of native-level communication. We start at level 1 heat, representing speed and brand new information. In a newsroom, you call this breaking news, but in daily conversation, the information is hot off the press. This phrase comes from the actual printing press. Stacked, freshly printed newspapers like these were physically warm to the touch due to the speed and friction of the machinery. That same focus on perfect timing leads to the phrase, "strike while the iron is hot." In blacksmithing, the smith must hammer the glowing red tip of the iron while it is still soft. Once that metal cools down, it hardens, and the opportunity to shape it vanishes. Highly skilled individuals who capitalize on these urgent, high-stakes moments are known as hotshots. These are the experts brought in to fix a software bug or close a deal before the window of opportunity closes. In these scenarios, linguistic heat describes a positive force, a brief window of time that requires an aggressive response. At level 2, the heat is no longer an opportunity you hold. It is a pressure directed at you from the outside. Being in the hot seat describes the psychological state of this man at the podium, facing a crowd of reporters during intense scrutiny. If you are running from that scrutiny, you might find a competitor or a pursuer hot on your heels, staying relentlessly close behind you to maintain the pressure. Sometimes, that pressure takes the form of a hot potato. This is a controversial issue so damaging that everyone in the office avoids it, hoping someone else will take the blame. Failing to navigate these external pressures results in ending up in hot waters. Ending up in hot waters describes trouble sparked by a specific mistake, such as telling a lie to cover for a missed deadline. Level 2 heat represents these inescapable external forces. They require immediate navigation to avoid professional or social damage. When external pressures breach your defenses, we reach level 3 heat. The conflict moves inward, leading to an emotional or situational meltdown. The first stage is getting hot under the collar. This describes a specific mix of anger, frustration, and embarrassment. Being trapped in a dense, unmoving line of cars while a vital meeting starts creates that exact feeling of being hot under the collar. This differs from being hot and bothered, which describes the panic and anxiety that comes from sudden stress, like the frustration of being unable to find your house keys when you are already late. The terminal stage is a hot mess. This describes a physical situation or environment that has descended into total disorganization. These phrases track how a situation moves from a manageable nuisance to a state where both the person and their environment feel out of control. We have tracked the full journey of the word hot, from the urgency of opportunity to the burden of pressure, to the point of emotional collapse. Relying on literal, temperature-based translations isolates a speaker from these layers of emotional meaning. Now is the time to strike while the iron is hot. Take these phrases and use them in your next real-world conversation. Mastering these nuances shows you can navigate the subtle, high-stakes layers of English like a true hotshot.